Hey book lovers, my name is Natalie. I love books, so let's talk about them. Alrighty, so like I said, it was a crazy week and I didn't get a whole lot of reading done. In fact, I was looking at what I read in November and I did not read as much as I was hoping. I had 16 books on my TBR, and of course, in true fashion, I wanted to read none of them as soon as I put them on a TBR, so now I know, so we're not going to do that for December. But let's talk about, so we're going to talk about a few things in this video today. I want to go over the books that I finished in November. I want to talk about December, how I'm going to structure my reading then. I think that's it. I could have sworn there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, but I cannot remember it for the life of me right now. So we're not going to worry about it, because otherwise I'll be sitting here like on the Nevernight video where I kept saying the first 100 pages, if it weren't for the first 100 pages. I didn't know that those first 100 pages affected me that much. So apparently they did. So let me go. I've got my tablet here in front of me to kind of help me because I kind of forgot what I read. So since my last video, since I did the Nevernight and the Thinner video, I had started reading Children of Time. So let's talk about, anyway, so Children of Time, that was the one that I was reading after Nevernight. I have not finished it. I stopped at 50%. I was reading it and then it just wasn't, you know, quite, I wasn't feeling it. So then I moved on to trying to listen to the audiobook, and I still really didn't care very much. I don't know if it was me or if it was the book, because technically everything about this book is something I should like. Children of Time is about, we have the human race and we kind of have them on the end of their, you know, they know that they're using their planet up. So they've gone and they've decided to, you know, terraform other planets for this experiment. The experiment kind of goes awry. I don't want to say that because I don't know that for sure. I only got halfway through the book. So the terraforming project goes awry in this one instant, and you know, things are kind of not how they're supposed to be. And then you kind of flash forward like several thousand years, I think. I felt like it was several thousand years, especially because they were, you know, you have this last arc of people from Earth and they're traveling. So it must have been several thousand years. And they find this terraformed planet and they believe that they should be able to live there, except something has, you know, again, something went awry, and instead of being hospitable to people, it is inhabited by giant spiders. So again, I stopped at 50%, so I don't know enough, and I do want to pick it back up, so I haven't officially DNF'd it. Because again, this is everything I should like. This is space travel, and that part of it is real cool. And then you have the giant spiders, and that part of it is real cool. You know, so you have all of these things, and I don't know why I just wasn't like interested. I just couldn't have cared less, to be honest. And you know, I know that the last few chapters, I have no clue what went on. I have no clue. So, but again, I feel like this is the book that I should like. So I decided I needed just to move away from that book, and try some other books and then come back to it. So I haven't officially DNF'd it. It might be one of those that I pick up in 2020 again, because I did realize after reading a couple of other books that it was me, it wasn't the books. So, you know, I went from Children of Time to, so the next book was Gloria and Beth by Robb. This, if you've never read, this is the second book in the series. The first one is Naked in Death. And this is about Eve Dallas. It's like 2058. We're in the future of Earth. Eve Dallas is a cop, and she is investigating crimes. So it's kind of like a murder mystery slash romance, maybe romance thriller type of thing, because there is a romance. It carries over from the last book. So the guy that she fell in love with there, Rourke, she's in a relationship here, and they're having like relationship issues, which is part of like the subplot here. And in this book, she finds a colleague basically murdered. She's been found dead. So, you know, Eve has to investigate this while also dealing with a lot of, you know, her colleagues knew this, the attorney, and so she's got to also deal with that. This book, you know, I went back to see what my opinion was on the very first book, and I liked the very first book, apparently. I liked it enough to give it 4 or 5 stars, something like that. So, and if I, you know, once I looked back, I realized that the reason why I liked that first one so much was because I was guessing who the killer was, and I could not get it right. So this one was a little bit disappointing. I love like mysteries where you know, even though I'm sitting there going, it's them, you know, I don't know who it is. And I like to be surprised. I've read a lot of mysteries. That was my favorite thing about Agatha Christie mysteries. You know, you never knew who it was. I mean, sometimes you'd get it, but most of the time you wouldn't. So in this one, I knew who it was by the second death in. So there's several deaths. You know, the death of Cecily's like the first one. And then there's 2 more deaths after. And by the second death, I knew who it was. You know, I knew who it was, and then by the time I got to the end, it wound up being that person. And I was a little disappointed because I was like, that's kind of the expected one. However, you know, so I rated it a 3, which for me means like it was okay. However, I don't think that's going to keep me from reading the next one. Because sometimes you get that with books. You know, I've had, so I don't want to, it is a really long series, and I don't want to judge this one, you know, the whole series on this one book, especially not since I liked the first one. You know, I've had series that I loved and I hated that first book. So the first book on this one, I give it a 4 or 5. This one was a 3, so it was okay. But I think I'm going to try the next one still. You know, because sometimes it takes them a couple of books to get into a series. So, yeah, so that's how I felt on that one. It was a 3-star. So there we go. So the next one that I read was Succubus Blues, which is by Richelle Mead, and I wanted to read them because I really enjoyed Vampire Academy, you know, and that was actually one I enjoyed in my 20s. So Succubus Blues is about the succubus named Georgina Kincaid, and she lives in Seattle, and there was a mystery involved. You know, there was like someone, yeah, it was kind of a murder mystery type of thing involved too. I don't want to say much because, well, I mean, there wasn't much about the mystery, to be honest with you. But it's in her community, you know, this is a kind of like an urban fantasy type of thing. So there's vampires and there's angels and demons and that kind of thing. And, Georgina is just one of the people in there. So what did I think of this book? Again, this was a 3-star for me. It was okay. It actually wasn't that great until the end. I kind of liked the end. So, but I want to say this, you know, when I read Vampire Academy, I did not like that first book. I did not like the first book. And I don't know what made me read the second book. I think that was, for a long time, when I would start a series, I would need to finish that series. And I think that's what happened with Vampire Academy. And it was a series I wound up loving, but I hated the first book. So I kind of feel like with Richelle Mead, because I also started Bloodlines, which is kind of a spin-off of Vampire Academies about, I want to say alchemists, but Is that right? Well, anyways, it's a spin-off of Vampire Diaries. I mean, not Vampire Diaries, Vampire Academy. And, you know, I felt like, now, to be fair, I just listened to the very beginning, and then I decided I didn't want to listen to it on audiobook. I wanted to read it. So I'm not even going to pass judgment on that one. But Vampire Academy, I hated the first book. By the time I got to the second one, I was like, this is good. You know, and I remember liking it because the character grew. So, you know, I like the ending of Succubus Blues. Even though it was a 3-star for me, I will probably read the next one because I own it. And I'm trying to read the books I own, especially the ebooks, because, you know, you can't give them to other people. And 2, I mean, there's a very good chance that it could get better. For me, Richelle Mead has proven that maybe her first books in a series aren't always that strong. You know, the funny thing, and the reason why it wasn't a 4-star for me, was there was a lot of, let's go through her her daily life. Let's go look at what she does for a living. Let's go do, and I was kind of like, this is not relevant. I want more of that murder mystery type of thing. But then again, I don't know, maybe this was par for the course in 2007 a lot. I also, if you look at my Goodreads, I also finished a book called Co-Creating At Its Best. I'm not really going to go into that one. You know, I don't know how many of you really have any interest in Law of Attraction. It's, I listened to it on audiobook. It's between Esther, Abraham Hicks, and Wayne Dyer. I gave it a 5 because I really loved it, because Law of Attraction right now is really resonating with me. If you like Law of Attraction, check it out. But I don't think, you know, I'm not going to go into detail unless you guys want me to review the Law of Attraction books. But I feel like those books in particular are really, you know, a few years ago I read the Law of Attraction and I didn't like it at all. And now I'm going back and I'm rereading and it's really resonating with me. So I think it's just one of those things where if you're connecting with it, you feel it and you really love it. And if you're not connecting with it, then you're going to hate it. So those are really subjective, and some books are really like that. I mean, all books are like that in the end, you know. So I think that's how I finished out. Yes, I finished out November with Succubus Blues. I did have a brief haul. I went and I got 3 books for my birthday. The Bromance Club, which I will be, see, I don't know. See, about December, I don't know that I want to do like weekly reviews because, again, I read 6 books. Maybe, hold on. I gotta go to my little journal here. 1, 2, yeah, 6 books. I read 6 books in November, and I don't feel like that warrants a weekly wrap up. I do have. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate that you're watching. I want to know, have you read any of the books that I talked about today? What did you think of them? Does Children of Time get better? So anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And bye.